Lucky you!
Best 36 holes in golf.
You tuned in to Alternate Shots Podcast,
Arnie's Army.
where we talk about golf,
Marquis, Sandys,
poker,
Bond, James Bond.
horse racing,
I'm all in.
great movies.
Alfred Hitchcock.
We have no script.
And down the stretch they come.
We're glad you joined us.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Whoop, let's start again. So, Billy, here we are getting ready to do, I think it's episode 95. Going to talk about a number of topics, golf on top of that, movies, gambling, and we're going to certainly talk about horse racing and the Breeders' Cup. But we thought we'd give our viewers who asked us to update our bumper music. What happened there?
Well, we showed what happens when we try to work with a script.
Bumper music. Lucky you!
36 holes in golf.
You tuned in to Alternate Shots Podcast. Whoop, let's start again.
All right.
You,
I'll talk over you a little bit.
a little bit, just a little bit or no?
Shouldn't we overlap a little bit?
254. Lucky you!
That's 36 holes in golf.
You tuned in to Alternate Shots Podcast. All right, here we go. Lucky you! All right, so just in case you didn't think we're having any fun at this, we'll give you a little peek into the production values of this wonderful Alternate Shots podcast. So, Billy, what do you, I'm still laughing.
I think at the very least that should put any future guests at ease.
Right. We've gone from 12 handicaps at this to 19 handicaps in just a week.
That's what happened. Somebody changed my grip, and the next thing you know, I can't do the podcast anymore. I felt like I was in the first row of the first pew at church right during the sermon.
And your brother was poking
My
you.
brother was making me laugh.
All right, so let's look at one of these things. Okay, up here, we'll look at golf. We had a really great month here with our golf karma. What's going on there?
Yeah, we put James Nicklaus in the winner's circle.
I think James Nicklaus put himself in the winner's circle. Do you
Well,
remember what he
of course
said?
he did.
Of
I
course.
can't. We didn't make him shoot 63. He did that on his own, but we certainly didn't knock him off his game.
He asked Claude Harmon in the old days, my son wants to be on the pro tour. What do you think he has to possess? And he says, well, it's simple. He's got to be able to shoot 65 any day he tees it up on his home course. If he can't do that, forget it.
My hat's off to James Nicklaus. That boy can hit a golf ball.
He had 23 under par. He had 27 birdies in 4 rounds.
27 birdies in 4 rounds, 27 birdies in 4 years.
Just about a month ago, right behind me here, talking to Eric Cole. How fun was that? How refreshing a young man he is.
And another guy who has put his nose to the grindstone, stuck to his guns, and he's getting rewarded for it. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday and see what's going on, if there's golf or not. You know, the golf world got confusing with live and everything else going on. I still don't know what's going on with that. What I do know is this field of golfers at this particular time in history is top notch. There's 10 number 1 players in the world right now.
First event in Maui, which was traditionally only for winners of the prior season. Eric Cole's on that list. He didn't win yet, but he's in because they want the top 50 there. That means he's over there in Maui, probably play the Hawaiian Open in Honolulu the next week, and he gets to pick and choose. Now, he likes to play a lot of tournaments, but he still gets to pick which ones he wants to go to, the venues he likes, the horses for courses that are best for him.
It's still really the only sport that the individual is in control of his own destiny but through his ability. Have to fend for themselves. They're one-man teams. It's a remarkable talent to be able to get into the top 50.
I don't know that this is a foregone conclusion of the Saudi PIF group and the PGA Tour, materializing. I'm not sure. It's sort of cloudy in my mind.
I agree.
What about this Mark Frost? How great was it to meet him and to learn about at least the 3 books that he wrote about Bobby Jones, about Francis We Met, and then, of course, about the match, Ken Venturi, our buddy, and Harvey Ward, Ben Hogan, and Byron Nelson. What a storyteller he is.
Absolutely. And he also wrote the script for The Greatest Game Ever Played, which, in my opinion, is the best golf movie I've ever seen. Not that there's an abundance of golf movies. And, Caddyshack aside, which is more of a spoof than a golf movie. It was just great to watch that movie. It was seeped in history. Francis Ouimet probably doesn't get the due he deserves because he wasn't a marquee kind of guy in our lifetime. But what a remarkable feat he pulled off, and the way Mark Frost presented it was just, eye catching.
And then
Yep.
they had the lead actor, Shia LaBeouf, who walked in and said, "I just came from the range with the clubs
Bag
all
on
thumped."
backwards.
Yeah, the tell was walking in the door. We know you don't know how to play. They said spent 6 months in various pros to teach him how to do one follow through. He never really hit a full shot. He hit that last putt that they had the little channel on the green.
Right, they made an alley for him. Yeah,
Last time we talked about great movies, you talked to me about two Alfred Hitchcock movies I hadn't really spent any time on, and I thought they weren't going to be any good because they were old. One was 39 Steps, or the 39 Steps. The other one was Foreign Correspondent. And I'm like you now, those are right on top of my list when you think about that's 60, 80, they're made 80 some plus years ago when they had no
yeah.
techniques. But the scene in the 39 Steps on the train, high above on that bridge, high above the water, that's like the train that goes over the Hudson in New York City, and you're looking down below and you see nothing but water. That scene was incredible. How did they shoot that?
How about the windmill scene in Foreign Correspondent? The timing of that scene, just the atmosphere created. It's just such a good movie.
Yeah, we should tell people if you want to go to a Tom Cruise movie because you want to salivate over Tom Cruise, you're talking to the wrong guys. We like Tom Cruise, but
Yeah.
we like the elements of the movie. Part of it's the actors, but the other
Yeah.
part is the way they take, like, what was the movie? Vertigo. And we do have a note out to Kim Novak. Let's cross fingers. Maybe she'll come on to our little podcast. What an actress. What an actress, and what a beauty.
Yeah, a legendary actress. I hate to throw you a curveball, but in all the Hitchcock talk we've done, we never mentioned a movie called The Lady Vanishes. Check that one out. That's another old one.
If you're listening to this, you should check it out because I've listened to everything Billy said, especially about handicapping we'll get to, but these movies, you get brought into this screenplay, the directing, the beautiful scenery. I mean, even
Yeah,
in
the cinematography.
the 39 Steps, if anybody who's played over in Scotland, they know where this guy is walking through the moors, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yep.
what's something on high or whatever, he's going to some town and there's nothing. You don't see a house. Maybe you'll see a sheep if you're lucky. I'll give you one I just watched. I'm not sure it's a movie, but it's a series. I think it's on Netflix called Get Gotti. It is
Got it.
It's a mini series. It's not like 5 seasons. It's a small series. Back to Castellano. I guess Castellano was in the mood for a steak one night. This movie
Sparks.
starts there, and it goes all the way through. He was Teflon Don, and it's well worth it. It is well worth it. Get Gotti.
Get Gotti.
Yeah.
So go out and get Gotti, guys.
So what about a gambling story? I know that you've had some good beats and some bad beats. You got any interesting poker hands for us before we talk about the Breeders' Cup?
I had a bad one last week. I mean, this happens in poker, and when it happens, you feel like, somebody's got it out for you or something. But I had pocket kings, and I flopped a king with a queen and an 8 against an ace 8, and the turn was an 8, and the river was an 8. I figured you could put Phil Ivey, Phil Hellmuth, Daniel Negreanu, and every other poker player that's ever lived together and ask them if they'd fold that hand, kings full, on the river. And, maybe some of them would. I thought about it, but I had to know. And I was right. He did have the 4th 8. That cost me. But that's poker. It's why you go back. I want that call every single time. The guy he went running 8s. So how often do you get 3 8s on the board?
Well, you were on the bad end of that. Usually the guy with the ace and the 8's on the bad end of it. And when he goes for the pot, he gets shot. That's why they call him the dead man.
Yeah, well, Bill Hickok got it in the back with aces and eights.
A week from now, you got the Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday, right?
Yeah, this week, Friday and Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. There'll be 2 days of races, very big purses, great horses, young horses. There's a 2-year-old that everybody's all excited about. I think his name is Tamara, who was very impressive in his early days. So I think he might be the overriding favorite of the 2 days. I'm personally am on Arcangelo again. I hope I'm going to look at the racing form when it comes out this week. But I love the way Arcangelo's been running. I love the trainer, the underrated trainer, and she seems to know exactly how to handle this horse. She knows him. She knows when to work him, when to run him. Very impressive team effort there between trainer and horse and jockey. I think what she's going to do is wait and see what her post positions are. I know in the past, the game plan is to be basically to get to the outside where you're clear and make a strong stretch run. But in the Belmont Stakes, as she said, the window opened on the rail. She was like, oh, perfect to go right through there. So that's how intelligent she is and how well prepared she is. She will try and figure out the best path for this horse to take with the jockey, of course. The jockey has to make audibles very often. They can't do what the trainer tells them to do all the time. And some trainers don't tell them to do. Like Todd Pletcher will they'll have a strategy, but he'll say, you're going to have to use your head if something changes. If you can't get through on the rail, obviously you don't stay on the rail. So trainers are not only good with how they handle horses, they're good at figuring out how the race will be run and who they're up against and who they're entering against. And they're very underrated at their jobs. It's not as lucky as it looks to some people. And Jenna seems to be at the head of the class on where to go and what to get ready for. She's A1.
You've seen this picture many times. This is the betting window, right?
Yeah,
For people that go to the track, there's still the betting window, right?
there is. It's no longer denominational. It used to be there was a $50 window, a $10 window, and a $2 window. Now it's all of them are the same. You can make any bet at any window.
Comes the champ. I mean it. You are the champ. Believe me, you got more guts than you got sense. I love it.
Thanks.
So what do you want?
I don't know.
It's a house rule. You have to give me a number.
I'll be right back.
I believe you will.
Excuse me, I'm taking a survey. Who do you like?
I like the 2-horse. It's got front wraps. I always bet a horse with front wraps.
Excuse me, I'm taking a survey.
I'm telling you, go for your lungs. The big money on the 4-horse. He's the only close. I mean, real money.
Who do you like?
I like the 6. That's the horse. That's it.
Uh-huh. Why?
I always bet on 5.
Who do you like?
Up yours. The number 1 horse.
Thank you.
I like the 4, number 4. 4.
These other nags are I. They're so tired, they'll get to the 8th pole. They look like they're standing still at a bus stop. They go.
And Billy, these are not like odd, never seen before characters. You've run into these guys multiple times in your 50-year association with the track.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. There's an old story about Jack Klugman and Walter Matthau at the track. There was an old guy there. They saw him there all the time. He was a tout. He was always giving people tips and hoping to get a tip for the tips he was given. And the tout had wheeled a long shot in the first leg of the Daily Double, which means if he hits that, he's going to hit the Daily Double. And the first leg, the horse did win at 30-1 or 40-1 or something like that. And this old guy was so excited, he keeled over at the track. And Jack Klugman was leaning over him, and the crowd came around, and they said, "Is he alive?" And Klugman said, "Only in the double."
If I remember, this is where Richard Dreyfuss is friends with this other guy who's a cab driver and who has a nasty habit.
Buster Poindexter.
Buster Poindexter. He has a nasty habit of audio taping his clients in the back of the cab.
Yeah, they share a cab. They split driving a cab, Richard Dreyfuss and David Johansen. And David Johansen tapes the people in the back because he's looking for sordid, talk and whatever else. And he happens to catch on tape these two guys talking about a horse race the following Saturday. And the horse can't lose, blah, blah, blah. You're saying that would be illegal to hold him, but he's really ready. So are you saying the horse is going to win? And the guy says the only way this horse loses is if he gets struck by lightning in the starting gate. So later on, when Richard Dreyfuss is listening to that tape and David Johansen is telling him to ignore it, Richard Dreyfuss says to him something to the effect of, he says the only way he loses is if he gets struck by lightning. What do you like, lightning?
Who won? Photo.
Photo? Who's the photo?
I'm sure glad I decided not to bet.
Ladies and gentlemen, please note
You didn't
that
bet?
first sign
I
is
would have had a heart attack.
You know, that's why I only bet $2 on the longest shot there is, so I don't get my heart broke.
Please hold all tickets.
Why is it on so long?
Have you ever been in a photo like this guy and you're in this anguish yourself?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And 100 times. 100 times. And sometimes it comes out the right way, sometimes it doesn't. But when it does, it's a real elation. Winning a horse race, the fans, it's inexplicable how elated a fan is when he wins a horse race, whether he's winning $2.80 or $280. It's an amazing phenomenon. I don't care if you've never been to the track, the first time you go, it's incredible to watch how excited people get watching these horses run. It's an amazing feeling, actually.
It's really a rush.
You know, Blurred Image was Marty's horse.
It
He would
is, and a lot of people who have never been there are a little cynical about it. Many times they change their mind after they go.
Yeah, this is the anticipation. Gotta be.
That's the guy.
That's the half a lobster.
Yeah. And this is the only tape? This is the only copy?
Yeah.
Trot, are you all right? Have some nice beer.
I quit drinking.
The photo sign went off. They got a winner.
The winner of today's first race, number
My
4,
God, Trotter!
Charity.
It's
Second,
official,
number
you
6,
won!
Blurred Image, and third, number 2, Dream Roadblock.
He
Winning
really
time
likes
of
me.
today's first race, 1 minute, 36
Times
and
28.40, you're rich!
And the result
that official?
now official.
That official?
I can't believe I didn't bet that! What wonderful people!
I'd hate to have to walk around this joint with $700 cash.
710, and you'll never have that problem, because the only reason I won is that you didn't bet. You are the unluckiest person in the world.
Am not.
Am not. Who do you like in a second?
The 6 horse looks pretty good.
Huh? You got a brother?
All right, so Billy, you talk about the elation, the last race of the day. He's about to win his 4th race. He's going for his 4th race in a day.
I think at least 4, yeah.
Yeah, and basically what he's done is he's taken the money. So he won $715 in that first race we just talked about, and he goes to the betting window and he puts it all down on that. And he does that in the third.
He keeps parlaying everything he wins right back in there.
All right, here we go.
And for the last one, the bet's so big they have to go to the counting room.
Your elation. Walking it out. Now, would you say that's the epitome of elation in winning a horse race?
Well, that's a little bit closer to the Three Stooges winning a horse race than what really happens. But prior to the table tumbling and the rest of it, that was a familiar looking scene with everybody in the place yelling and screaming and jumping up and down. I remember taking my kids to the track once, and they loved a horse named Housebuster. They thought it was House Buster. The horse's name was Housebuster, and they're all screaming for him down the stretch, and they're young. And I said, "Come on, Billy, let's go." And they got him. And he ran. 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 And he ran And there was a guy at the next table who said, "Can you tell those kids to keep it down a little bit?" I was like, "No, are you crazy? Tell them to keep it down? You must not have bet Housebuster, pal." But
Or
it's unavoidable.
Yeah, yeah, and I think this is a great scene, but it also goes back to our affinity for movies and the genre of slapstick, right? This is kind of slapstick in this more current 1980 movie at its best example.
I remember when I was working in TV, one of the directors, John Wolfe, may he rest in peace. Once we were talking once, and he said, "Think about slapstick. I mean, it's become very commonplace. But think about the first guy who had to go in and try and sell that to a producer. You know, what was his sales pitch? I got an idea. Let's have the guy tip back in his chair, have the chair slide across the floor, bang into the wall, knock the cuckoo clock off the wall. It lands on his head. The cuckoo bird comes out. You know, then he slides down the stairs. I mean, they would have looked at him like, "What are you, nuts?" But it became a huge thing in movies. I mean, a lot of guys made their careers on slapstick, from Charlie Chaplin in The Silence to the Three Stooges to the Marx Brothers, tons of it. And then and here you see it right here, even Mel Brooks. So
Yeah.
slapstick was a huge addition to movies, a huge addition.
Yeah,
And that's why, you know, when you ask somebody what the 10 best movies are, it's impossible. I mean, where would you put Let It Ride? I enjoy it as much as any movie I ever watched, but is it as good as Casablanca or Gone with the Wind? It depends on your viewpoint. That's why it's impossible, literally impossible, to come up with the 10 best movies of all time in any kind of pragmatic way.
You brought up Mel Brooks. I just watched the original Frankenstein, and they were in the teaching laboratory in the university, and they're all kind of laughing because somebody hits the skeleton and he's going up and down. And
Yeah.
Brooks maximized that in Young Frankenstein. But then the other scene that was interesting is Igor Whatthump comes in. You know,
Yeah.
This Igor, by the way, was much more nimble than Marty Feldman in Young Frankenstein. This Igor walked up the side of the building and came into the 2 stories above window, comes down, humping down, and he gets the normal brain, and something scares him. He doesn't have the top on it. He breaks the normal brain, just like Marty Feldman did in Young
it ends up with aging normal.
I thought Mel Brooks might have kind of adapted that, but it's right from Mary Shelley's, or whoever did the screenplay. This is great.
You know, Young Frankenstein, Mel Brooks used all the same equipment from the original Frankenstein movie. The lab equipment is all the same stuff, the original stuff.
Even the scalpel he drives into his thigh. And this is great. We're getting back together in a few days. We're going to do the Breeders' Cup. Tune in to all the recent episodes. There's a half a dozen to 10 of them that are brand new. We're just updated the Bobby Collins episode. You'll see that up this week. And hopefully we'll have new bumper music for you with a lot of laughs.
Yeah, and if you listen to our Travers episode in time, you might have fattened your wallet with the Exacta we called. So,
why are you laughing?
Well, at least we have the laugh to add at the end.
Thanus for joining us
Casper,
today.
Billy Harmon.
We really appreciate your
Double
feedback.
Indemnity.
And please
Arky.
subscribe to the
Two
show
Outer.
and hit
Claude
the bell
Harmon.
icon so you get notified.
Movie Classics.
New episodes.
Mark Gable.
Hit them
Odd
hard
Job.
and hit them off.
Best 36 holes.